Hi, 8th graders. It's Mrs. Trendell here from SCAZA. So we're just moving right along on these lessons. We have only a few more left. Before we get started on our next topic, let's talk about last week's lesson a little bit, okay? So I want you to think about the lesson on alcohol. So we started by talking about expectations that people have about this drug. And we learned that many of these expectations don't match the drug's effects and the consequences of its use. So just take a moment to think, what are some of those false expectations that people have about alcohol? What do they hope alcohol will do for them? Well, today we're going to discuss another drug that people expect will make them look cool, more rebellious, or even up to date with new trends. Okay, think about the new trends out there. So in fact, most people who use this drug as adults started this habit as a teenager and never expected to be a user for life. So today in lesson 6, we are going to discuss tobacco-related products and the highly addictive chemical found in tobacco products. What is that chemical, that addictive chemical? It is called nicotine. So we're going to talk about the effects of nicotine use. Okay, so let's look at tobacco in detail. So cigarettes are only one type of tobacco product. So cigarettes contain finely chopped tobacco, cured and preserved with numerous chemical additives. The finely chopped tobacco is rolled into a thin paper cylinder for smoking. You can see those there on the top left. Another type of tobacco product is a cigar. There's some cigars below the cigarettes on the slide here. Cigars are made from whole cured tobacco leaves. The leaves are rolled into a large cylinder for smoking. We have pipe tobacco, which is just underneath the cigars. It is roughly ground and often fruit flavored. It is used in a pipe for smoking. Now we're going to look at some of the smokeless tobacco. So there's smokeless tobacco products. You can see it in the chart here or in the picture. So we have chewing tobacco, which is made from tobacco leaves that have been damaged by insects. This type of tobacco smokeless tobacco is placed between the cheek and gum or upper lip. Users chew it to release the nicotine. There's also dip, okay, another smokeless tobacco. It is a fine powder made from ground tobacco leaves and stems. It may be sold loose in a flat, round can or in small pouches. It's placed between the lip and gum so that the user absorbs the nicotine. Okay, the user must constantly spit out the tobacco saliva. Okay, they don't swallow it, they spit it out. Okay, then we go to, on the right-hand side is our electronic nicotine delivery systems. Or you'll see sometimes they call it ENDS, E-N-D-S. Okay, so these are our electronic cigarettes, our vape pens, our e-pipes. Okay. So these systems use a liquid that may contain nicotine as well as varying compositions of flavoring. The liquid is heated to form an aerosol that is inhaled. Some of these devices are manufactured to look like cigarettes, cigars, or pipes, and some resemble pens, highlighters, or other everyday items. So we often associate the danger of using tobacco products with the smoke that people inhale. So what are some of the negative effects that smokers experience because of tobacco smoke? Well, shortness of breath, chronic coughing, cancer, smelly hair and clothes, tobacco-stained fingers, holes in clothes, okay, etc. So those are just a few. While not all of the tobacco products here, not all of them are smoked, but they all contain nicotine. So the electronic or the ENDS or electronic nicotine delivery systems or the e-cigarettes and vapes are often marketed as a safer alternative to smoking. but there's little research available yet on the risks of using these devices. And also keep in mind that these devices can still contain nicotine. And as we're going to talk about, nicotine causes has many harmful effects to our bodies. Okay, nicotine also, not only you might associate long-term effect of smoking, could be premature wrinkles, but actually it's the nicotine that narrows the blood vessels in the skin and restricts the blood flow. So the decrease in the amount of oxygen and nutrients delivered to the skin leads to premature wrinkles. Okay, so we're going to talk about some short-term effects and long-term effects and social consequences of using nicotine in the next slide. So you can see the diagram here and the extensive list of the harmful effects of nicotine on the body. Some short-term effects. Remember that happens right away, doesn't take years to develop. Some short-term effects of nicotine use would be bad breath, less money. Okay, people spend lots of money on cigarettes and all the tobacco products out there, and now with the vaping devices. Okay, so not only on the cartridges, but they also spend lots of money on the actual vape devices. Okay, so another short-term effect would be yellow teeth, yellow nails and skin on your fingers. They're sick more often because their immune system is lowered. And addiction. Okay, so addiction can happen in a short amount of time. We're going to talk about those stages later in the lesson. Some long-term effects. Okay, so we have wrinkles. We talked about that's or the effect of wrinkles was because of the nicotine narrowing the blood vessels and restricting blood flow. And that's a part of why nicotine use can lead to heart disease, the heart working and trying to pump harder to get to your body, the parts in your body, or all throughout your body. Cancer, so we have long-term effects of cancer of the lungs, the throat, and the mouth. Loss of taste and smell, and gum disease. Okay, and some social consequences. Okay, loss of friends, bad reputation, feeling left out, problems with your family, legal problems, and dating dilemmas. Those are just a few. So scientists and researchers haven't had a lot of time to see the effects of vaping because vaping is so new. But they are learning that it has very adverse effects. Okay, it can irritate your mouth and airways, cause coughing, increased airway resistance. It can affect your heart and your circulation, causing chest pain, increased blood pressure, increased heart rate, and it can cause vomiting and nausea. Okay, because e-cigarettes like Juul contain nicotine, most of the products. They also contain other chemicals that have been associated with cancer. And we've seen on the news over the last few years lots of hospitalizations and deaths due to vaping. So what's the harm in trying nicotine just once? Well, people addicted to nicotine crave the drug so much that they will keep using and seeking the drug despite the harmful effects and the negative consequences. Addiction develops in stages, okay, and the user is often unaware the addiction is developing until it's too late. Chances are the first time won't be the last time. A person can move through these stages, the 4 stages of addiction, quickly, or it can take several years. Okay, so we're going to go through each stage of addiction and look at each stage closer. Okay, so this first stage of addiction is called experimental use. Okay, so this is the user's first time experience, typically occurs in a social setting like a party where the drug is available, whether it's alcohol, tobacco, marijuana, or any other substance. And the user at this stage might be curious about the effects of the drug and just try it on an impulse, maybe just this one time. Okay, the user doesn't expect to become addicted to the drug. Okay, this stage 2 is called pattern use. Okay, at this stage, the user doesn't purchase drugs and doesn't plan to use them regularly, but will use drugs if they are available. So the user begins a pattern of casual use, typically in social settings. While the user won't experience withdrawal symptoms yet, the user develops a tolerance to the substance. So what does it mean to have a tolerance to a substance? A tolerance is when the body becomes used to the substance and may need more to get the same effect. So the user will begin to need more and more of the drug to produce that same effect. So stage 3 of addiction is called problem use. At this stage, the user buys drugs and plans when and where to use them. Drug use has been going on for some time now, and the drug begins to run the user's life. Think of examples right now of how drugs could begin to run someone's life. Maybe at this stage, people are giving up activities that they like to do in order to be where the drug is. They could start only hanging out with other drug users and drop old friends who don't use drugs. Their grades and extracurricular activities become less important than drug use. Okay, the user in this stage will experience withdrawal symptoms if they try to quit at this point. So withdrawal is the period of time when the addicted user begins to experience uncomfortable symptoms from not taking the drugs. Okay, so experiencing these symptoms makes quitting become very difficult. So stage 4, the last stage of addiction, is called addiction. Okay, so at this stage, the drive to find and use the drug is all that matters, despite the consequences. The cravings are so strong, the user feels compelled to keep using the drug just to feel normal. The body sends a signal to the brain equivalent to the signal sent when a person is hungry. We've all felt hunger pains or hunger before at some point. So the drug becomes as important as food for survival. Okay, users in this stage sometimes turn to risky behaviors like stealing to get money to feed the addiction. Keep in mind that while addiction follows a course of these progressive stages, these stages progress at different rates for different people. So some users might stay at one stage for a long time, while others might quickly go from stage 1 to stage 4. So like they do with alcohol, people often expect that nicotine use will enhance their social image. Where do you think people get that idea from? Well, movies, older people, advertisements, videos online. So despite the harmful effects of nicotine use, we often see glamorous depictions of it in the movies, TV programs, video games, and music videos. Do you know that companies pay a fee or provide services in exchange for a conspicuous display of their product in media outlets? So think about it. There's a reason why the hero in the movie is drinking a particular brand of soda, or the leading lady drives a particular kind of car. Okay, so they're paying for that service for that movie to show that movie star using that product. Product placement intends to show actors using and enjoying these products so the viewer thinks how great their lives would be if they use them too. Most likely the actors don't use the products in real life. So let's look a little closer at the influence of product placement. So this image is a still shot from a recent movie. I'm not sure if it's really a real movie. And it's not in color, it's in black and white, so it might be a little harder to see. But the cool guy you see here is the top character or top actor playing the lead role. Okay, in the movie, he cruises around in a hot sports car. The scene in the movie is exciting and full of glamorous shots of the car from all angles. So how do you think they want you to feel about the car? Well, that it's a pretty cool car, okay? Do you think that someone might walk away from the movie thinking, well, man, if I had that car, I would look as cool as that guy does? So imagine in the same scene, this cool character lights up a cigarette. So the placement effect can be just as powerful with tobacco products. The image of an attractive person smoking a cigarette in a film creates a positive perception of nicotine use. They certainly aren't showing you that the person with a hacking cough or stinky breath, or that they have a hacking cough or stinky breath. In the movie, this character will drive off into the sunset with the girl in his cool car, but we know that nicotine users don't live without nicotine-related consequences. Okay, so media literacy is the ability to comprehend, analyze, and question messaging from all sources. So when you are a media literate person, you can analyze and question the things that you see. You're not going to just believe everything that you see. So advertisers hope that product placement will convince you to choose their products. Media literacy skills enable you to see beyond what is being presented to you so you can make your own decisions. During the week ahead, I want you to take a close look and take note on specific brand name products that you see while watching TV or watching a movie or playing video games or watching a music video. So I want you to pay attention to how you feel when you see these products. Does the product placement make you want to have the product? Or are you annoyed at the prevalence of the product placement? So if you have any questions or comments, please email me at scazaprevention@gmail.com. And next week we have lesson 7. Okay, next week is lesson 7, and we're going to be talking about the effects of THC and marijuana use.